Daughtry loving this moment. The crowd having an absolute blast. Everybody enjoying this, hugging and kissing and high-fiving, even complete strangers. Didn't look like they were strangers. Music blasting. Jennifer Sangaloa. What a way to bring in 2010.
It goes on and on and on. Remind me of everything tonight. Yes, I'm in the zone. I used to know. I get a good feeling. Dreaming about the things that we could be.
Time to make my entrance. Bang. Hello! Picture this. It's 2010. You're in your basement dancing to Just Dance. Your parents are getting divorced in the other room and there's nothing you can do about it. Just kidding! I used that intro last time. I'm not going to abuse it. Welcome to 2010. This year, there was a lot of bullshit going on, depending on who you ask. I don't know. I was 8 years old, so I don't remember any of it. I think the biggest thing that happened in 2010 was that Kanye released My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and it's the best rap album of all time. I don't care what you fucking think, Fantano. I fucking hate you and your opinions suck. Now that I've got that tangent complete, let's take a look at the 2010s and just reflect, get nostalgic for a little bit on a bunch of stuff that came out in each of these years. Yeah, I think that's going to be the intro, and I'm not even going to cut it. Oh, I'm going to start off with albums, actually. I got a whole ass spreadsheet on my computer right now, so you know I'm going in deep with this. The first album I have on my list that came out this year was Animal by Kesha. And I'm not going to talk too much about that album because I already talked way too much about Kesha in my Recession Pop video. So I think I've had enough, quite frankly. But also in the similar vein of Recession Pop, The Family Jewels by Marina came out that year. But that's more like Recession Pop for like... I need to tread carefully here. That's like Recession Pop for alternative girls. And I won't elaborate on that statement at all. Two Door Cinema Club dropped a classic album that year, Tourist History. It's that one with that guitar riff, you know. Jason Derulo dropped his self-titled album as well, which is kind of insane, not gonna lie. Had a bunch of bangers on it. DJ Khaled released that year. I'm not talking about DJ Khaled anymore. Maybe this might have been the album that All I Do Is Win came off of, but if that's fact checked later, fuck. Gorillaz dropped Plastic Beach, and that is another classic album. I gotta say there, that has some really vibey songs on it. If you haven't listened to that, you got to. What else I got here? I got Ludacris, Battle of the Sexes. I don't know about that one personally, but Neon Trees dropped Habits. That's another one with some bangers. Animal. Bieber dropped his first album this year. And I think this is kind of insane because when I started making the Recession Pop video and I was clipping the Kill Justin Bieber memes and talking about that section, I didn't expect a song about killing Justin Bieber to start popping off on TikTok. That shit is vile, and it's actually insane that that released in 2012, even though it's bizarre that put it out. Usher dropped Raymond vs. Raymond this year, or I guess Raymond v. Raymond. I don't know if there's much of a difference, but DJ Got Us Falling in Love was on that album. It's a banger. Love that song. Recession Pop classic. Dr. Dog dropped Shame Shame. And if you don't know what that band is, it's the song from Outer Banks. Where'd all the time go? Starting to shine. Or B.O.B. dropped his debut album this year, The Adventures of Bobby Ray, and that had a lot of bangers on it. Nothing on You with Bruno Mars. That was Bruno Mars's big debut song too. I think that's probably one of my favorite pop songs of all time, honestly. We got Thank Me Later by Drake. This is where he started his insane run. I think this album had Best I Ever Had on it. Might not have been this one, might have been the next one, but this is where he started off. Eminem dropped one of the best-selling hip-hop albums of all time with Recovery this year as well. Kind of took more of a pop direction, which, I don't know, he really hadn't done this type of music before, but it was kind of cool. It's definitely not as good as his older albums, but it's still pretty solid. Mac Miller dropped Kids. That had the spins on it. Obviously, frat rap classic. He'd go on to make insanely creative music later on. We got Katy Perry's Teenage Dream as well, Maroon 5's Hands All Over, Bruno Mars with Doo-Wops and Hooligans' first album, Far East Movement with Three Wired, CeeLo Green with The Lady Killer, and that had that one song on it, you know what I'm talking about. Kid Cudi released Man on the Moon 2, Kesha released a second album called Cannibal, Nicki Minaj released Pink Friday. I think, I don't know if I talked in depth about that one in the Recession Pop video, but I might have to make like a separate video just deep diving into her career, because there's been way too much bullshit that's gone down. And then Black Eyed Peas dropped The Beginning, which was actually their last album for 7 years. So I don't know why they released then before that, but this one had quite a few bangers as well. Rihanna released Loud, Flo Rida released Only One Flow Part 1, and I don't think he ever made a Part 2 to that series. T.I. dropped No Mercy. Halifax R&B singer, pop artist, sometimes rapper, Jordan released I Am Jordan as well. Mariana's Trench released Masterpiece Theater, classic Canadian album. I know the majority of my audience is from the States. If you are not tapped into Mariana's Trench, please go get tapped into them. It's fire. Down with Webster released Time to Win, Volume 2 this year, and Waka Flocka Flame released Flockavelli, and that had no hands on it. Bangers. The Billboard Top 10 for this year, it's pretty much exactly what I described in the Recession Pop video, excluding maybe 2 songs. Yeah, actually, maybe even, there was a country song in this, Lady Antebellum, but for the most part, these are all Recession Pop songs. The 10th most popular song that year was Break Your Heart by Taio Cruz and Ludacris, then Dynamite by Taio Cruz, Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, Love the Way You Lie by Eminem and Rihanna, Airplanes by Bob and Hayley Williams, OMG by Usher and will.i.am, California Girls by Katy Perry and Snoop Dogg, Hey Soul Sister by Train, Need You Now by Lady Antebellum, and TikTok by Kesha. So literally 7 out of 10 of those songs were all Recession Pop, and they were in the top 10. My point is validated from last video for the people that were hating on my fucking Recession Pop diagnosis. You were wrong, I'm right. The numbers don't lie. The iPad released. That did irreparable damage to children. And we're going to see the consequences of it sometime soon. The 2010 FIFA World Cup happened. Lady Gaga was in a meat dress for some reason. Sidney Crosby scored an insane goal that gave Canada a gold medal at the Winter Olympics in Vancouver. And yeah, the Winter Olympics were in Vancouver this year, and they had those weird fucking mascots. And I remember when I was in, what I would have been 8, whatever grade I was in elementary school, they made us do a bunch of cutouts and art of the mascots from this Olympics. And I don't know, it's PTSD. They had us in our classes making medal counting lists and counting how many medals Canada got versus other countries. Just kind of insane in hindsight. Apart from that, though, this year The Walking Dead's first season came.
There's always that chance, isn't there? That slim chance. It's all about slim chance.
And that is easily like one of the best first seasons of TV I've ever watched. That pilot episode is fucking insane. Water break. Breaking Bad was also going on this year. I think would have been season 3. No, it ended in 2013 on season 5. I think it would be season 2. No, it would have been season 3 that was airing this year. My fault, gang. And that was a pretty crazy season. That was the whole Gus Fring arc that was going on around that point in the show. So it was awesome. Lost ended this year, and everyone hated the last season. I haven't gotten to it yet. I'm only on season 3 right now, so I can't speak much on that. But I know it was really controversial. There's also a season of Dexter that came out this year, but by that point, the show was kind of mid. All the good seasons were before. I guess season 7 was good too, but not even talking about that. House was pretty popular around this time as well. What else? House is awesome. If you have never watched House, it is literally a bitter old man that's smarter than everyone, and he walks with a cane because his leg is dead, and he solves medical mysteries, and then he makes everyone feel stupid, and it's awesome. I strive to be like Dr. House one day, personally. Community was going on. That's a really good comedy. Glee was releasing, and that wasn't a good comedy. It was terrible. I've never watched it, but I hate it. Just on principle. Futurama was going on too. Obviously, like one of the animated goats. Sons of Anarchy, How I Met Your Mother, Parks and Rec. The Big Bang Theory was coming out this year too. As well as Mad Men, 30 Rock, Supernatural was still going pretty strong. Man, I keep having dyslexic attacks as soon as I get in front of a camera. It's kind of insane. Doctor Who, I've never watched that, but I guess British people like it. So, you know, here's to British people. Then The Office as well. It's going really strong at that point. If I look at anime that was coming out this year, I know. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to talk about it briefly. I know some of you aren't tapped in like that. I'm tapped in, though. You guys got to get on my level. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood ended this year. And that's probably one of the best TV shows I've ever watched. That story goes crazy. Please watch it. Bleach was going on this year, and I believe it was one of the filler arcs, so I won't be talking about it. I've also never watched One Piece, but that was a thing. And Naruto Shippuden as well, which I've also never watched. Those were going on. Bunch of kids TV shows that were coming out, and since I was a child, I was tapped in. So what I'm gonna do for this video, while I was watching kids TV shows, if I was of the age, I will cite them as key pieces of the time. Most of them are Disney and Nickelodeon. And for you American viewers, in Canada, the Disney Channel isn't a thing, it's the Family Channel, and the Family Channel's getting shut down this year. So I'm sad. But we did have Disney XD, which is a weird contradiction. But Good Luck Charlie started this year, Shake It Up started this year, Hannah Montana was still going on, Wizards of Waverly Place was still going on, The Sweet Life on Deck, Sunny with a Chance, Phineas and Ferb. Those were all massive Disney shows that were going on at this time. On the Nickelodeon end, Victoria started this year, iCarly was still going on. We had Big Time Rush, Cartoon Network. Okay, I guess this is Cartoon Network now. Pair of Kings also aired that year. That's Disney XD. There's a whole rabbit hole with that show. They replaced one of their lead cast members because he got arrested for something. I think it was aggravated assault. I'll fact check that later. And then one of the other guys, I think he went to jail after the show ended. It's kind of insane. But back on the Cartoon Network, Adventure Time started this year, and Regular Show, and Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, and Star Wars The Clone Wars was still going on. What do I got for movies this year? Oh, movies. Inception came out this year. I've never watched it. Toy Story 3 came out. I've watched that one. It made me cry a little bit when I saw it in the theater at 8 years old. I'm not even going to lie. Social Network came out. Haven't watched that either. But Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 came out. I have seen that, and it's a great movie. It's one of the more slept-on ones in that series. Shutter Island came out, and Scott Pilgrim. And I've never seen either of those either, but I will at some point. How to Train Your Dragon and Despicable Me also came out. Despicable Me did irreparable damage to our culture by creating the Minions, and now they're everywhere, and I fucking hate it. That's all I have to say about Despicable Me. Fucking Steve Carell, whatever your fucking name is, count your fucking days, I'm looking for you. We got books. Hunger Games Mockingjay came out this year. I've never read any of the Hunger Games books. I'm just citing this because I remember all of the girls that were in my class would not shut the fuck up about the Hunger Games, and they kept reading these books. Manga that came out, the same animes I listed earlier, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, were doing their thing, and the Walking Dead comics were still going on. Alright, it's time to talk about YouTube and online stuff. The internet was a fucking weird place in 2010. It wasn't quite as treacherous as it was before. You wouldn't open up YouTube and see someone getting decapitated randomly, which honestly, if you open Twitter nowadays, you still have that problem. But back then, YouTube wasn't that bad. Previously on the internet, especially with stuff LiveLeak, it was very treacherous, and you could stumble upon stuff that you really didn't want to see. But YouTube wasn't quite where it was in the past with stuff sneaking through unfiltered. There was a lot of really popular creators at this time, and the memes, oh god, in hindsight, man, I fucking hate millennials. They ruin everything. Then their stupid fucking overpriced burger restaurants. I'll give them this, some of their content from the time was pretty insane. It was kind of funny, but in hindsight, you can classify this era as millennial humor. Oh, I'm so random and relatable. This is really funny, isn't it? Ha ha ha. But it's, I don't know. Smosh was really popular during this era, and I think their peak from 2008 to 2015, they made a lot of genuinely really funny stuff that holds up. Some not as much. I won't cite the ones that don't crack me up anymore, but the Justin Bieber video and the Sexual Sun video, 10 out of 10 YouTube videos. I still laugh at them when I see them today. Niga Higa was dropping some pretty iconic stuff. I think this is the year he dropped Nice Guys Finished Last, that became a whole cultural thing, and then later on it got adopted by red pillars that didn't even realize their whole movement was started by a meme song in 2010. It's kind of fucking ridiculous, but what else is going on? Oh, the double rainbow meme was a thing. Do you guys remember that? It's like, whoa, it's a double rainbow. Yeah, millennials, man. The Bed Intruder song came out that year. It's like, hide your kids, hide your wife. Old Spice with those ads where it's like, look here, now look there, now back to me, now there. It's like, that came out that year. The troll face became popular, as well as a bunch of other weird face memes like Me Gusta. I think that one was maybe a year or two after this, but iFunny was also... I'm sorry. iFunny, every time I'm reminded that iFunny exists, I fucking lose a piece of my soul without failure. God. If you don't know what iFunny is, it's probably for the best. I'm not going to educate you. And for the last stuff in 2010, there were some games that came out. Minecraft, I believe the old version of Minecraft came out this year. Not even like the one that was released that had no hunger bar and stuff pre-release on mobile. This was like the old version. Same with Roblox. It had come out a few years before this, and it was like I wouldn't play Roblox or Minecraft until a couple years after this, but there was kind of something interesting about this era where it's like everything's low quality and it kind of has a weird charm to it that's a little nostalgic. Especially with Roblox, had this Lego aesthetic, and now if you hop on it, it's like you're fucking playing a AAA game. They have shit that's like better than Call of Duty on it, just kind of insane. But Halo Reach also came out this year, and that's like my second favorite game of all time. Crazy fucking game, saddest ending ever. Fallout New Vegas also came out, in Super Mario Galaxy 2. Amnesia: The Dark Descent came out this year, and that would basically create the entirety of Let's Play genres and make all of those YouTubers popular, because YouTubers, PewDiePie, Markiplier, I don't know who else fucking played horror games on YouTube, but they built their careers off playing this game basically, and that's what gave them their first initial blow up. It's insane. What else we got? Oh yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops came out this year. Another insane game from when COD actually used to be good. Plants vs. Zombies, Angry Birds, Fruit Ninja, Cut the Rope. I haven't listed here that Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out this year. I don't think that's actually correct. I think it was Black and White. I will fact check. But either way, both of those games are insane. And I had a game that not a lot of people know about on my Wii that came out this year called Poke Park. And it's you go around with the Pokemon and you make friends with them by beating them up. It's fun. I'm not going to lie. And the aspects of life that were at this year, silly bands were a thing. Epic fail humor was at its peak. Facebook was at its peak in popularity in terms of people in a younger age demographic before it get taken over by all the older folks. Neon colors and rainbow aesthetics were really popular, and this was pre-Pride, so it was just a color scheme. The shutter shades were big, and Justin Bieber haircuts as well. Next year, 2011.
And it's not 2010, unfortunately. You ever just wish it was? You ever just sit there and wish that it was?
Interesting year. I'm pretty sure the Harlem Shake came out this year. I'm not gonna fact check if that's actually the year because it's the Harlem Shake. Who cares? You all know it's from the era. I think that trend, it was alright, honestly. It was just a viral dance trend. Nothing too crazy about it. I think the craziest thing that I remember in context, two things that are in context about this, is that when this thing was happening and I was in school, they pulled everyone out of class in school, in my elementary school, to go into the gym and film the Harlem Shake. Which is like insane. It's like the entirety of the school. I grew up in a really small town. Taking the whole school out, the school went kindergarten to grade 5. There's maybe 2 classes at each grade level, one for French immersion, one for English. And barely any kids in the school. Maybe with all those grades combined, there was 300 at max. So it's like a small school. But imagine you drag 300 people into a gym. It's like kind of insane. I remember I went to this thing one time. I challenge you to find the fucking footage that this exists, because I can't. I hope no one uncovers it. I went to a summer camp around this year or the year after, and it was called Animation Camp. And it was in Moncton, New Brunswick. And I went there for a week and learned how to animate stuff. And there is a claymation thing that I put out on their channel. There is a Harlem Shake thing we did, and another thing where we did Mario Kart in real life, and it was goofy. And for some reason during the Harlem Shake, I had a full Minecraft box. So it probably was 2012 or 2013. I had this Minecraft box, and it was just a creeper head. And I, for some reason, brought it with me to camp because I thought I could use it for footage, so I put it on for this. And to be fair, other people were putting stupid stuff on too, so it's fine. But that is my thing. You guys will never find that footage, and if you do, it will be the day I give up on life. The other thing about the Harlem Shake is that the guy who created it, he went by Filthy Frank, and if you weren't around on YouTube in 2016, you probably don't know who Filthy Frank is, but you probably know who he is now. His artist name is Joji, and he's made quite a few popular songs. If you go back and look up Filthy Frank's videos from 2016, they are pretty wild. If you don't want to have your perspective on him shattered, don't go watch it. Personally, I love the content. For this year, music that came out, Jessie J dropped Who You Are, Britney Spears dropped Femme Fatale, Wiz Khalifa dropped Rolling Papers, Sleeping with Sirens dropped Let's Cheer to This, Tyler the Creator dropped Goblin, just an interesting album to say the least. Lady Gaga dropped Born This Way, massive project. LMFAO dropped their big project this year, Sorry for Party Rocking. Planet Pit came out by Pitbull. Simple Plan released an album. Beyonce released an album. Big Sean made his commercial debut, I believe, this year as well. Kendrick Lamar released Section 80, which just wasn't his first album, but this was his first genuinely good album. What are you doing this for? What's that mean?
It's good. That's my favorite album.
Kendrick Lamar went on a crazy run, especially in the early 2010s. He's still on a crazy run, so there's that. Jay-Z and Kanye dropped Watch the Throne. Comment down below if you know who was in Paris that year. Goche. Stop fucking up my house! Goche released Making Mirrors, and that had Somebody That I Used to Know on it. Just an insane pop song. Awesome. David Guetta dropped Nothing But the Beat. Maddie's not a big fan of this one personally, I don't think, but I'm a fan of that album. Quite a bit, actually. Lil Wayne dropped the Carter 4. Arguably, I think it's between this and the Carter 3 for the best one out of them. I think the Carter 4 is probably my personal favorite. Had a lot of really good songs on it. I think 6 Foot, 7 Foot's probably my favorite, but there were an insane amount of bangers that came off this. Of Monsters and Men dropped My Head is an Animal this year, and that had, I can't believe I hyped this song up for the entirety of the Recession Pop video. I'm blanking on the name. Don't listen to a word I say. Screams all sound. Shit will carry us away. I'm gonna have to put the fucking thing. I can't figure out what the name is. J. Cole dropped Cole World this year. Had a workout on it. Pretty good song. I believe this also had Lights Out. I fucking love that song too. J. Cole's just fucking legend. M83 dropped Hurry Up We're Dreaming. That had Midnight Cities on it. Kelly Clarkson dropped Stronger. Justin Bieber released a Christmas album this year. Drake dropped Take Care, one of his best albums, definitely. Mac Miller dropped Blue Slide Park, and this is where he'd start to move away from frat rap and start turning into the rapper he would become, where he'd make a lot of good music. Pusha T dropped Fear of God 2. Gym Class Heroes dropped The Paper Cut Chronicles 2. One Direction dropped All Up Night. Rihanna dropped Talk That Talk. Hot Shell Ray dropped Whatever. And that's the song that has the album that has Tonight Tonight. Taio Cruz dropped Ty.0. Black Keys dropped El Camino, an insanely popular rock album, had a bunch of bangers on it. T-Pain dropped Revolver. Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa put out Mac and Devin Go to High School, and that had one of the best pop songs of all time on it, Young, Wild, and Free, one of the best pop songs, one of the best pop rap songs of all time. Classified from Halifax released Handshakes and Middle Fingers this year, and I think this album is overall solid, but the song Day Doesn't Die has a really nice beat on it and a really catchy hook, and that's probably my favorite Classified song. Headley released Storms this year, and to this day, I will never fucking forgive their lead singer for what he did. Headley was like my childhood, and now they don't exist because insert mugshot here. Mariana Trench released Ever After as well. Insanely awesome album. Childish Gambino released Camp this year, starting off his career. And Chris Brown released an album called Fame. Yeah, Chris Brown, interesting early 2010s experience. Anyways, this is Maddie. She has a problem. She's a Chris Brown fan. Intersplice your photo over that, and then it's gonna cut to you talking about the album.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, this year Osama bin Laden got killed. That's kind of fucked. But back on music, top 10 for this year were Just Can't Get Enough by the Black Eyed Peas, Moves Like Jagger by Maroon 5 and Christina Aguilera, Super Bass by Nicki Minaj, Fuck You by CeeLo Green, Grenade by Bruno Mars, Give Me Everything by Pitbull, Neo, Afrojack, and Nair. I got the third DJ right this time. Those of you who didn't comment that, I noticed it though. E.T. by Katy Perry and Kanye, Firework by Katy Perry, Party Rock by LMFAO featuring Lauren Bennett and Goon Rock, and the number one song this year was Rolling the Deep by Adele. This year on TV, Michael Scott left The Office, so that's basically where the show ends in my eyes. Game of Thrones started this year too. That was probably one of the more crazy first seasons of TV ever. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it, you got 2 seconds to click away. But they spend the whole fucking season building up this guy to be the main character, and in the second last episode, he gets fucking decapitated, and it's horrific. Insane season of TV. Shameless started this year too. I've never watched Shameless, but I know my roommates have, and they keep trying to put me on. Suits started this year. I love Suits. I am Mike Ross, by the way. My middle name is Michael. My last name's Ross, as you can see by the channel at I am Mike Ross. Fuck you. American Horror Story started this year. I've only seen 1 season of it, but it seems a pretty solid show. I might get into it. And the only anime I've listed for this year was Steins Gate. I have mixed fucking perspective on Steins. Okay. I know my friends that really fucking ride or die on that show are gonna shit on this section, but the first half of that show fucking sucks. And then the second half is the best show I've ever seen, so I'm really fucking conflicted about it. It's just boring, it's just like fucking scientist, dude. And it has some interesting elements at the beginning, but then nothing fucking happens. And then at the end, everything happens. I don't even know if it's worth watching, it's just such a fucking insane show. But Kids TV, Hannah Montana ended this year, and The Sweet Life on Deck was such a goated show. I don't watch Hannah Montana that much, but Sweet Life, that was my thing. The original show and Sweet Life on Deck. Jessie started this year. So Random started this year. The Amazing World of Gumball as well. Austin and Ally and Ant Farm started this year as well, and Kickin' It. And iCarly ended this year. And that was my favorite show for a really long time, from when it started until it ended. But funny enough, I was limited on how much I could watch iCarly on the last 2 seasons because one of my close friends, shout out Jenna, that I grew up with, her parents wouldn't let her watch it because it was getting too violent and edgy, according to them. And I was hanging out with her a lot, and, you know, me and my buddy Trevor, we wanted to watch iCarly, and Jen's like, I can't, my parents won't let me. It's like, so sad, so sad. Shout out Mike and Barb, best godparents ever, though. Making jokes. Laugh in hindsight, please don't hurt me when I come home. This year, Harry Potter ended. Last movie, and I guess not, like, they did, like, still going on to this day, but, like, the last Harry Potter movie came out this year, and it was awesome. It's like the best movie series ever. Maybe there's a couple things that are tied for it. I don't even fucking know. I've never watched Twilight, but Breaking Dawn came out, and I know girls that I knew at the time were fucking freaking out over it. Whatever. MCU started to get really popular this year too. Avengers, I think Avengers came out in 2012, but this was around the time Iron Man 2 had come out like a year or two before this. Captain America came out. They'd already released Thor, the Hulk, and the first Iron Man movie. So it was building up to where it would explode. Also, X-Men First Class came out this year, and I haven't watched it, but I heard that it is one of the best superhero movies ever. It's the only X-Men movie I haven't watched. I've seen all the other ones. The only 2 Marvel movies that I haven't seen are X-Men First Class and the first Captain America movie. What else we got here? Drive came out this year. I only watched that last year. Oh God, I don't know if I should tell this story or not. I was watching Drive at work, and I didn't realize it was 14 plus. I didn't realize it was rated 18 plus. And watching it, and there's a scene where they're in the strip club, and there's a bunch of titties everywhere, and I was fucking watching that at work. Jesus, fuck. People were walking by me. I had to turn that shit off. Fuck, man. I'm gonna get in trouble right now. They're gonna think I'm watching porn or something. But I was just watching Drive. It's insane. Rise of the Planet of the Apes also came out, and Fast 5. Probably my favorite Fast and Furious movie. Rango came out. Really slept on. And Rio. For books, Divergent came out this year, which I've never read any of those books, but I liked the first movie a little bit. I didn't like the ones that came after that. But the first one was decent. A Dance with Dragons also came out. That was I think that might actually be the last Game of Thrones book in the series. It's been like almost 15 years and the guy hasn't finished the series yet. And Attack on Titan started this year. It's one of the best things ever. YouTube! Oh fuck, did I not talk about video games earlier on the 2010? I might have to intersplice that later. Cut the... Oh, I did. Fuck yeah. Oh, I just forgot to talk about Red Dead Redemption. Shout out Red Dead Redemption. Awesome game. YouTube. Jenna Marbles was really popular this year. I didn't watch her because I was not the target audience, but I know she was popular. I knew a lot of people personally that liked her content, so there's that. PewDiePie started to get really popular. Say what you want about him, he's a controversial guy, but he made some really fucking entertaining videos back in the day. This is when Let's Play videos and video game videos on YouTube really started to get popular too. This was, I don't know if there was video game parody music before this, but this is when Minecraft music started to come out, like parody music. I think the first I know came out was TNT by Captain Sparkles, and it was a parody of Dynamite, so I might have to look into that a little further, but yeah. Rebecca Black released Friday this year. I cited her as more of a YouTuber than an artist because she kind of gave up after that. Everyone made fun of her, which is sad. She was just a fucking kid making music. I think she was 14 when she released it, and everyone fucking made fun of her and sent her death threats. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? God. Nyan Cat was a thing this year as well. And the shit people say memes, you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. I'll put you on game, okay. Planking, randomly planking in public. Reddit started to get pretty popular this year too, and Twitch TV released, but when it released this year, it was called Justin TV. Games that came out this year, Skyrim released, never played it, but I heard it's insane. Minecraft officially released this year. Portal 2 came out. Arkham City, the Batman game, and Uncharted 3 came out. Battlefield 3. Modern Warfare 3 came out this year too. Terraria and Jetpack Joyride. Temple Run. Skylanders, and I have this year listed as Pokemon Black and White. I need to check my facts, so I'm fairly certain Pokemon Black and White came out in 2010, not 2011, but I might be wrong. Aspects of Life. This is when quirky humor was a thing. Yeah. Snapbacks were really popular, and photo filters with vintage looks on Instagram were a thing this year. Feather hair extensions as well, and 3D TVs had a market push this year, which is weird, but oh well. 2012. Let's start with some albums. Rick Ross dropped Rich Forever. Lana Del Rey dropped Born to Die, and that irreparably damaged performative women everywhere. Nicki Minaj released Pink Friday, Roman Reloaded, which is not a deluxe, it is a sequel album. Her name scheme is confusing for her Pink Friday series, and I don't get it. Train dropped California 37, and this album gives me PTSD because on the song, I think it's 50 Ways to Say Goodbye, that's what it's called. The music video is this woman and him imagining her dying in horrific accidents and stuff that doesn't make sense, and my brain couldn't really comprehend it at the time. The song's gas, though. It has this whole trumpet section going on, and the premise of the song is pretty comedic. Oh, we broke up, so I'm gonna lie and tell my friends this happened to you instead so they don't ask about you anymore. It's a pretty insane song. Music video is cracked, too. Neon Trees dropped, Train dropped Drive By on that album, too, and that was everywhere for a little bit. But Neon Trees dropped Picture Shows, and that had Everybody Talks on it. Justin Bieber dropped Believe, Usher dropped Looking for Myself, Maroon 5 dropped Overexposed, and that had Payphone on it, obviously classic song. Flo Rida dropped Wild Ones instead of dropping Only One Flow Part 2. We'll never get it. Psy released Gangnam Style this year and dropped his album Psy 6, parentheses 6 rules, end of parentheses, comma, part 1. Yeah, Gangnam Style was a thing to have existed because it's a song, no English in it. No one knows what it's about. The song's actually a critique on consumerism in the Gangnam district in Korea, but no one in English-speaking countries is going to know what it means. It was just catchy, followed pop trends at the time. Popped off, had a cool dance, awesome music video. That's what made it go on. It is to this day one of the more viewed music videos on YouTube in general. I think it has a few billion views, so it's probably top 10 at least. Rick Ross dropped a second album this year too, which is kind of his golden era. But I don't know. I've never been that big on Rick Ross. I think he's had some decent songs. I like his flow sometimes, but yeah. Owl City dropped the Midsummer Station, and was this the one that had Good Feeling on it or Good Time on it? I was either this one, the one that had Fireflies was earlier, but this is probably the one that had Good Time on it. Yeah. It's always a good... Yeah, it's called Good Time. DJ Khaled released another album, who cares? Rita Ora released Aura this year. And, okay, I'm about to play devil's advocate for a second. Imagine Dragons released their debut album this year. I'll have to circle back and talk about Imagine Dragons later. They dropped the self-titled EP this year. I'll touch on them later. Pink released The Truth About Love. Mumford & Sons dropped Babel. Lupe Fiasco put out Food and Liquor 2. I still got more. Ellie Goulding, Halcyon. Macklemore and Ryan Lewis dropped The Heist, which snubbed Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City at the Oscars historically. Good Kid, Mad City is one of my favorite albums of all time, and I'm pissed to this day that happened. But that being said, I will say The Heist wasn't a bad album. It was still a good album, had some good songs on it, just nowhere near the level of Good Kid, Mad City. And the Grammys were very much in their racism era still at that point. They arguably still are. Or they're just out of touch at this point because they just fucking picked the dumbest. The last couple of years, I'll give them benefit of doubt. They've put some pretty good nominations up, giving Killer Mike the Grammy for, I think, 2023 or 2024. That was one of the better albums I'd listened to that year, so I'm down with that. Nominating Nas's King's Disease series regularly. Not a lot of people have tapped into that, but that's probably... I don't know if he'll make King's Disease 4 or not, but King's Disease 1 through 3 is probably one of the better hip-hop trilogies I've ever heard. Taylor Swift dropped Red this year, and I'll say this, I liked this white girl era of Taylor Swift when there was kind of catchy pop songs. I'm not a fan of the new Taylor Swift very much. I think her new album is fucking dog shit. It's not very good. Calvin Harris dropped 18 Months, EDM bangers. Meek Mill dropped Dreams and Nightmares. This album is fucking insane. I love it. Neo dropped Red, One Direction dropped Take Me Home, Pitbull dropped Global Warming, Rihanna dropped Unapologetic, Kesha dropped Warrior, Wiz Khalifa dropped ONIFC. I think that album had a Work Hard, Play Hard on it. Bruno Mars dropped Unorthodox Jukebox, and this year, Trilogy by The Weeknd came out, and oh my fucking god. This is like a starting point. This is during this era specifically. He made a lot of kind of grimy strip club type music, and he'd move on from that later, but it was still good R&B. It's really solid project. If you don't know, if you're not familiar, Trilogy is 3 projects put together. It's House of
Balloons, and Echoes of Silence.
Yep, those 3 put together. And it was a pretty solid grouping. Frank Ocean also dropped Channel Orange this year, probably one of the best R&B albums of all time. Fun dropped Some Nights. Chris Brown dropped Fortune. Oh, wait, it's time to introduce Maddie again. Chief Keef dropped Finally Rich. There were so many bangers on this album, I can't even go about. And then Tyga, I think he made his commercial debut this year as well, and that probably had Rack City on it, if I'm correct. Billboard Top 10, What Makes You Beautiful by One Direction, Starships by Nicki Minaj, We Found Love by Rihanna and Calvin Harris, Stronger, Kelly Clarkson, Glad You Came by The Wanted, Lights by Ellie Goulding, Payphone by Maroon 5 and Wiz Khalifa, We Are Young by Fun and Janelle Monáe, Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen, and Somebody That I Used to Know by Goche featuring Kimbra. Everyone thought the world was going to end this year. I'll just find that hilarious every time I bring that up. It's just a thing that existed because people were, oh, the Mayan calendar's ending, we're all going to die. And then Armageddon came out around that time too, the movie. And I'm pretty sure there was a movie called 2012 that came out as well. God. Obama got reelected this year. They're one of the GOATs. He is probably one of the better Democratic presidents elected, but he definitely had his flaws. He really liked to bomb impoverished children, which is a pretty big criticism against his administration. Apart from that, they did do a lot of good. I was a child during the era. I'm looking back in hindsight, and obviously compared to the fucking leadership we have right now in the States, is kind of insane because we went from him to a literal person with dementia to the fucking supervillain. Gangnam Style's Dance, awesome. Vine rose to popularity this year as well. This was actually the year the Harlem Shake came out. I have it in my notes. Usain Bolt defended all of his titles at the Summer Olympics as well. Michael Phelps became the certified GOAT of swimming this year as well. What do I got? LeBron won his first championship. What else do you want? Oh, you got for TV, Arrow aired this year. You know, shows like The Walking Dead, Dexter, Breaking Bad were still going on. Walking Dead was like about to hit its peak within the next couple of years. Breaking Bad was winding down, coming to its end. Dexter was coming to its end as well. That's pretty much all I got to say. Every other show I talked about, unless I said it got canceled or ended, it's still going on at this point. So, especially Breaking Bad was on like season 4, or would have been season 4 or 5. Either way, 2 crazy seasons of TV. Walking Dead was on season 3, so they're like getting into the prison arc. Oh, that shit's awesome. What I got for anime? Bleach ended this year. I've never seen the ending of Bleach. Too much filler in that show. I guess JoJo's Bizarre Adventure started this year. I've never watched that, but my virgin friends, so they like that one. Sword Art Online came out this year too. That show's horrendous, but back then I kind of liked it. Wizards of Waverly Place ended this year. Gravity Falls aired this year. Ben 10 Ultimate Alien ended. Every time I think that reminded that Dog with a Blog existed, it feels like a fever dream because I used to watch that show way too much and it's terrible. But it came out this year, and Lab Rats came out this year.
That's the most goated show of all time.
I love Lab Rats, actually. I used to watch that so much. Movies, The Avengers came out this year. Insane what would happen with Marvel after this. Like, they'd go on to be like the biggest franchise ever. Dark Knight Rises came out this year. I've got a really controversial opinion. I like this movie more than The Dark Knight. I know a lot of people disagree with that. I think Heath Ledger's Joker performance was insane, but I just really like Bane. His voice, I was born in the darkness. When I rose into the light, it was nothing but blinding. It's awesome. I fucking love his performance. It's so fucking awesome. Hunger Games came out this year. Probably one of the better action movies. Out of the teen dystopia genre, the first 2 Hunger Games movies are probably the best. Maybe the first Maze Runner movie can compete with them a little bit, but those were genuinely the top of them. Skyfall came out this year. James Bond. This was probably one of the better. I think I kind of like Casino Royale more than this one, but it was fucking awesome. Amazing Spider-Man came out. And say what you want about that era of Spider-Man, but this movie was genuinely awesome. The Hobbit also came out. Same with that. The way that trilogy ended was kind of whack, but the first Hobbit movie was great. Life of Pi. That shit changed my perspective on life when I saw that. I don't know if you've watched Life of Pi, but that shit's a ride. It's a dude on a boat with a tiger, and they're stranded. It's insane. Django Unchained came out. I haven't watched it yet. I will soon. Wreck-It Ralph came out this year. Twilight ended this year. Hotel Transylvania came out this year. Project X released this year, and I can't glaze this movie enough. This shit literally defined party culture for the next decade. This movie is fucking awesome. It has a great soundtrack. Whoever that dude was that commented on that short saying their playlist was better than the Project X soundtrack, drop your playlist. I'm still fucking waiting for it. Anyways, what did come out? The Fault in Our Stars came out this year. I know the girls were glazing that back in the day. Were you glazing Surgeon? The book came out, and Gone Girl came out. Online media, PewDiePie blew up, and this is what put him on track to be the best or biggest YouTuber of the era. Amnesia was still very popular, and Slender is what drove a lot of horror virality this year. Tobus, bro, he had such a fall from grace, but back then he was cooking. Some of his videos were actually gas, especially those epic trailer videos. They were so good. Epic Rap Battles of History was at their peak around this time too. Grumpy Cat was a thing. Coney 2012. For those of you who don't know, because this seems it's gotten kind of obscure recently, Coney 2012 was a warlord who had child soldiers in Africa, and for some reason he became a meme. I don't really understand the context even nowadays, but yeah, Coney 2012. Minecraft YouTubers got really popular this year though. I used to watch Captain Sparkles and Sky Does Minecraft the most out of them, but there were a lot more. Diamond Minecart, Stampy. There were Aya's Cupquake was pretty big around that area too. Sly Fox Hound. Man, there's way too many. It's the entirety of Team Crafted, Jerome ASF, Bajan Canadian, all of those YouTubers. They got massive as well. Lachlan, Vicstar. I could probably make a whole video about OG Minecraft YouTubers and their contributions to YouTube, but it would take way too long. That was my thing for 2012 to 2015. That was my addiction, Minecraft YouTube videos. I spent way too much time watching that, especially Captain Sparkles. He was so goated. He, this year, I believe, released Revenge. Just the one Creeper. Oh, man. I think Don't Mind at Night came out this year as well. I think that was Beatbox that released that one. So, yeah, there was so many insanely popular Minecraft YouTubers. Anyways, games that came out this year, Far Cry 3, crazy game. Borderlands 2, Slender the 8 Pages, Black Ops 2, the best COD game ever. The golden era of Roblox started this year. Minecraft started this year as the golden era. Those two games back to back kind of defined gaming for me around that period. Especially Roblox. I would be playing the most random bullshit at odd hours on Roblox. Be the most random games of all time. And I'd be looking for horror games too. And there would be these, I'd be playing Roblox horror games and it'd be this cool concept that starts off and then it's like they just shoot PNG jump scares at you. Shout out if you ever played like the Bloody Mary game on Roblox from back then. Have you played that? You played the Bloody Mary game? Oh my god, this is like the first person I've talked to that actually knows what that is. Same with Hospital Nightmare, that was another one that was really big back then. God. The Walking Dead, the Telltale game came out. That's one of the saddest games I've ever played. It actually fucking hurts me every time, but it's such a great story game. Clash of Clans and Candy Crush and Subway Surfers and Hill Climb came out this year. Plague Inc. as well, and Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, which out of the original Pokemon games is the only ones I haven't played, which is honestly surprising because Pokemon like dominated my childhood, especially in the late 2000s. But Aspects of Life, Galaxy Prints were popular this year for some reason, and mustache memes. Snapchat came out this year. I think the dog filter came out the year after this, actually. I need to check that. End of the world jokes were still prevalent, and high-low skirts were popular. 2023, or 2013! Headley released Wildlife. They were still in their golden era at this point, had some really good songs. Down with Webster released Party for Your Life. Man, I miss this era of pop music just for the stupidity of pop music. Down with Webster. There was so much fun. A$AP Rocky dropped Long Live A$AP. It was his second album. The first one was a mixtape he dropped, I think, in 2011, but it wasn't really commercially available, at least on streaming services, until recently. But Long Live A$AP is probably his best album, and it's a genuinely awesome album. Classified released Classified. Lil Wayne released I'm Not a Human Being 2, which had I'm on a good cushion alcohol. That's that song. You know what I'm talking about. One Republic dropped Native, and that had Counting Stars on it. We did a whole breakdown of the fucking horrendous lyrics on that song if you want to research that for yourself. But it's, I don't know, I think the song's catchy, but it's not something I'd go out of my way to listen to. I didn't dislike it or strongly like it when it was a thing. Strokes released Come Down Machine. Tyler, the Creator, dropped Wolf. He's growing pretty heavily into the artist. Paramore released Paramore. Charlie XCX released True Romance. Around this time, she started her career. Fall Out Boy released Save Rock and Roll. That album is not rock and roll. I'm sorry, bro. You didn't save shit, but you put some good songs out. I like that album. Kid Cudi released Indica. And after this, he'd kind of go on the rough streak for a few years until he released Man on the Moon 3, but this was a solid album. will.i.am released #Willpower. Fits and the Tantrums released More Than Just a Dream. Demi Lovato released Demi. Chad Heart Attack, Zesty song. You know, I throw that one on every once in a while. It's good. I love that song, genuinely. We got Daft Punk, Random Access Memories. Probably one of the best EDM albums of all time, honestly. Get Lucky is such a banger. J. Cole released Born Sinner. Fucking awesome album. Ariana Grande released Yours Truly. Run the Jewels started this year. Jay-Z released Magna Carta. I haven't heard anything on that song except on that album except Holy Grail with Justin Timberlake, but I do like that song quite a bit. Cody Simpson was a thing this year. Released Surfer's Paradise. Okay, speaking about Cody Simpson, just briefly, I don't know if this, for my American viewers, I don't know if this was the case in the States, but on the Family Channel, they would play music videos between commercials and TV shows. And around this time, I kept seeing him on that repeatedly. Serena Ryder as well. They would play out of both of those. And I think it has something to do with Cody Simpson's Australian, but Serena Ryder's Canadian, and she wasn't very popular outside of Canada. So I think it has something to do with broadcast regulations, certain percent of Canadian artists on Canadian TV, that type of stuff with radio. But, you know, it's cool around that era. We got, Robin Thicke dropped Blurred Lines. This was a pretty controversial album. Music video was a bunch of naked women walking around. The first time I saw that in 2013, that was game changing. I'm not gonna lie. How old was I in 2013? I would have been 11. Yeah, that does things to a kid when you see something like that early on. A$AP Ferg released Trap Lord. He started his career off this year. Big Sean Hall of Fame. Arctic Monkeys, AM, 21 Pilots, Vessel, The Weeknd, Kissland, Avicii, True, Jason Derulo, Tattoos, Iconopop, that had I Love It with Charlie XCX on it. This is Iconopop. Drake, Nothing Was the Same. R5, that had the guy from Austin and Alley's the lead singer, dropped Louder. Lorde released Pure Heroin, one of the best pop albums of all time. Ribs is a painful song to listen to, it hurts. Miley Cyrus released Bangers. Pusha T released My Name Is. Katy Perry released Prism. Avril Lavigne released Avril Lavigne. Eminem released the Marshall Mathers LP2. Lady Gaga released Art Pop. One Direction released Midnight Memories. Britney Spears released Britney Jean. Childish Gambino released Because the Internet. Justin Bieber released Journals. Beyonce released Beyonce. And it's time for the Billboard Top 10. Roar by Katy Perry's at number 10. Cruise by Florida Georgia Line and Nelly. It's 9. When I Was Your Man by Bruno Mars. PTSD level with y'all for a second here. I'm not proud of this in hindsight, but my first real relationship in high school, I'm not gonna say I was no saint, but I was getting played for a fool the majority of that. And anyways, when we broke up, we opted to keep a situationship going for a while, and obviously that works great, especially when you're 17, 18. 10 out of 10 experience. We were driving with her friend in the backseat. I was dropping her to her place, and this song started playing, and she started making jokes about how we're not dating anymore, and I fought back tears. And I'm not gonna lie, I did not win that fight. I started crying. And that is my PTSD for that song specifically. It's okay though, I'm a grown man now. I've learned from my mistakes. I've learned. Just kidding. Just kidding. Love masculine men that can show their emotions. Just Give Me a Reason by Pink featuring Nate Ruse. Mirrors by Justin Timberlake. Can't Hold Us by Macklemore and Ryan Lewis featuring Ray Dalton. Harlem Shake. Harlem Shake was number 4 this year? What the fuck? Harlem Shake by Bow. Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke, T.I. and Pharrell. And Thrift Shop by Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. And that's the thing with this. A lot of these songs did release in 2012, but these were the most popular in 2013. Which probably means they either carried over and had such an insane run that they were this popular this year, or they straight up just released close to the end of the year. That's probably the largest factors that would carry over 2012 songs this year. But speaking on Imagine Dragons in 2013, I'm going to level with you guys. I have been a very big fan of Imagine Dragons for quite a while, since I heard Radioactive and It's Time for the first time. And I will say this, they have a lot of valid criticisms against them with songs that get popular off of their stuff on the radio. I'm not really that big of a fan of that. Stuff like Believer, Thunder, those types of songs. I understand why people don't like those songs. That being said, their albums, their first 2 albums specifically, Night Visions and Smoke and Mirrors, have a lot of really good songs on them. I genuinely think if you like alternative music, you should listen to them, because you will be pleasantly surprised. They actually make really good music. It's just the stuff that they market, it's like Imagine Dragons type songs. I know you're cringing because you don't believe me, but it's true. This is the word of law. Anyways, events this year, the Boston bombing happened, and I'm only bringing this up because I had a really unique experience. I was in New York with my family when this happened. We just got off the plane, and we were in a cab going to my cousin's place. And the radio was talking about the Boston bombing, as it was happening live time. And there were armed guards everywhere in New York City throughout, our duration there. I took the ferry, and there was escort boats with machine guns on them. It was insane. They were planned for another terrorist attack. So they were on alert. It was kind of scary, I'm not going to lie. But Breaking Bad ended this year. Best season 5 of any show I've ever seen, honestly. Second favorite show of all time. Orange is the New Black started this year, and House of Cards, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Which is kind of insane. This year, Attack on Titan aired, and okay, that was going to be contradictory because I was talking about virgins and anime and all that bullshit. This is my favorite TV show of all time. Kids TV, Shake It Up ended this year. Liv and Maddie started this year. Victorious ended. Sam and Cat started this year. I'm pretty sure it also ended this year as well, because it was 1 season. But Steven Universe started, and Pair of Kings ended, and their stars are probably in jail right now, for all I know. Movies. Frozen came out this year. The Hunger Games: Catching Fire, banger. Iron Man 3, banger. Man of Steel, banger. Gravity, banger. Wolf of Wall Street, banger. Pacific Rim, banger. Fast and Furious 6, it was alright. This year, Allegiant, the book, came out. Online Meteor, Markiplier got really popular. I started watching him around this point too. Filthy Frank started to get popular around now. Oh god, his content was something else. You gotta see it to believe it. He had to take down some of his videos, but there was a video where him, iDubbbz, and Max Mofo made a human cake. And if you don't know what I mean by that, it's taken down off YouTube. You can probably find an archive of it somewhere, but the content they were making was genuinely fucking insane. What Does the Fox Say was a thing this year as well, and I'm pretty sure Ain't Nobody Got Time for That was a thing this year as well. Shrek is Love, the meme video, if you haven't seen that. Doge became a thing this year, and that kind of carried on. It got reused around 2016 in the post-ironic sense, which is kind of fucking stupid, but twerking was a thing this year. The Let's Play format was fully mainstream, and YouTube Rewind started to get really popular. This year there was an insane amount of games that came out. The Last of Us, GTA 5, oh my god, GTA 5, that's a video by itself. Bioshock Infinite, Pokemon X and Y, Pokemon became 3D this year, and it was kind of cool. A lot of people didn't like these games, I thought they were sick. Tomb Raider had a reboot, Assassin's Creed 4 came out, Stanley Parable came out this year. That game is fucking mind-boggling. If you don't know about the Stanley Parable, please watch a playthrough or play it. It's insane. That shit is fucking meta as hell. Oh, the Papa's Pizzeria series peaked right around this time too. Cookie Clicker was a thing. Also, during this whole era, Flash games were insanely popular too. So when you were at school, you couldn't download shit on the computer, so you just play Flash games. If you don't know what Flash games are, it's stuff like Raft Wars, Fireboy, Water Girl, Fancy Pants, all that shit. Flappy Bird was a thing this year, and then it got taken off the App Store because the creator didn't like how popular his game became. The Wolf Among Us came out as well, and Clash Royale. Aspects of life. Selfies were popular this year. Touch ID became a thing. Tumblr was at its peak. Leggings became acceptable to wear as pants. Flower crowns, those were popular too, especially with those. I'll call them pre-Visco girls, you know what I mean? They were kind of before the Visco era, but they're basically Visco girls type. And this year, the PS4 and Xbox One came out. Because before this, the main consoles were the PS3, Xbox 360, the Wii. Couple of years, I think the year before this actually, the Wii U came out, and the DS was in use until 2011. I think that's when the 3DS came out and took its place. Anyways, 2014.
So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself and I didn't know I was lost. So wake me up when it's all over.
2 years left. Music. I don't have as much albums listed for this year, and it's honestly probably for the fucking best, but YG released My Crazy Life this year. It's a pretty banger hip-hop album. Kira released Shakira. Future released Monster, one of his best albums. Passenger released Whispers, and I'm pretty sure this is the one that had Let Her Go on it. Lana Del Rey released Ultraviolence. Tiësto released A Town Called Paradise. This had quite a few bangers on as well. Ed Sheeran released X, and as much as I'm not that big of an Ed Sheeran fan, I think this album had quite a few good songs on it. He released These Things Happen, and as much as he would kind of become corny, and he was a little corny at this point, this genuinely had a lot of good rap songs on it too. Wiz Khalifa released Black Hollywood, Maroon 5 released V, and this was probably the last great Maroon 5 album. Had a lot of really good pop songs. Pitbull released Globalization, and this would be his last popular album as well. Calvin Harris released Motion, saying a lot of bangers on that one. Most of these albums, I've talked about them in the Recession Pop videos, so if you want more in depth, or if you want to see my Recession Pop playlist, I will link that in the description. But Avicii released the Days the Nights EP. Oh, great. Chris Brown released something else this year. Hey, Maddie. Hosier released Hosier, had Take Me to Church on it, which I think that actually released the year before, but it got popular this year, I do believe. Kaiser released Sound of a Woman, which I think, maybe I like the way that you... I don't know, it's that song. Ooh, ah, ooh. It's that, you know the song I'm talking about. It has that beat on. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, that's that album.
Accurate though.
Logic released Under Pressure, one of his best albums. Say what you want about Logic, he has his moments where he's really corny, but this is a genuinely great rap album. This is before he leaned heavily into the identity politics and all that stuff. Taylor Swift released 1989, good pop album. bangers. One Direction released 4, Nicki Minaj released The Pink Print, Charlie XCX released Sucker, and J. Cole released one of my favorite rap albums ever, 2014 Forest Hills Drive. Awesome album. And the best rapper of all time released his magnum opus this year. Kid Ink released My Own Lane. The Billboard Top 10 this year, it was Stay With Me by Sam Smith, really nice ballad song. Problem by Ariana Grande and Iggy Azalea. All About That Bass by Meghan Trainor, which is probably one of the worst songs I've ever heard. Rude by Magic came out, which is another pretty high contender for worst song I've ever heard. Talk Dirty by Jason Derulo and 2 Chainz. And I remember when this song came out, my dad and I were in his truck and we were driving, and this song came on. He's like, why does it sound like they're playing the flute through their nose? Counting Stars by One Republic is at number 5. Fancy by Iggy Azalea and Charlie XCX. All of Me by John Legend. Dark Horse by Katy Perry and Juicy J. And Happy by Pharrell Williams. What happened this year? Oh, this was the Ebola outbreak year. Okay, I need to talk about this briefly in relation to that. Have you guys seen that parody music where it's Ebola? La, 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 la. It's the parody of the Fergie song. That guy who made those shit, he was the founding father of racism. Because I'm not gonna lie, I don't know outside of my friend group how that was treated, but to a kid in 2014 that was my age, I was 12 years old, that was peak comedy to me. Just looking back on it, it's not even funny, it's just racist, it's fucked. But yeah, the Ice Bucket Challenge was a thing this year. Instagram became very popular this year as well. The Malaysia flight disappears, and there would be a whole bunch of conspiracies about that. Winter Olympics were in Sochi, and the World Cup was in Brazil. This year on TV, True Detective aired, and that was one of the craziest seasons of TV I've ever seen. Fargo aired as well, and Silicon Valley. Gotham and The Flash aired. How to Get Away with Murder aired. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that year. I feel like there wasn't an insane amount going on TV. Obviously, The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones were quickly becoming the biggest shows on television. And this was right when they were in their peak, putting out their best seasons too. So yeah, it's awesome. For anime, Tokyo Ghoul came out. I've never watched that. I just know everyone who watched that show is edgy and fucking insufferable. But Parasite came out this year. That's a really fucking good show, actually. It's really philosophical. I feel thinking about the concepts of Parasite are more interesting than the show itself. It just kind of brings these cool philosophical elements. Anyways, Good Luck Charlie ended this year, Sam and Cat ended, and Star Wars The Clone Wars ended temporarily because Disney canceled it. And then it would get revived later and they'd get their ending. So that's cool. But Girl Meets World aired this year. Sabrina Carpenter, oh, how far you've strayed from God. I'm getting good music. Ant Farm ended and Kicking It as well. This year, movies. Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain America the Winter Soldier came out. 2 of the best Marvel movies, bar none. The Lego Movie came out. Another pretty awesome movie in its own right. The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. I was not a fan of this or Part 2, so I'll leave it at that. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I like it. Not a lot of people do. Interstellar. Haven't watched it. Heard it's great. Whiplash. I've watched it. It's awesome. The Maze Runner. Also awesome. And Divergent. Mixed feelings on it. Sometimes I like it. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's a good movie, sometimes I hate it. It's genuinely flip-floppy for me. Oh, also, this year, Naruto ended, the manga. Anyways, online media. Around this time, there was a lot more gaming YouTubers that were also popular. I used to watch Vanoss Gaming a lot right around this period, and Ali A. Vanoss's funny moments were awesome, and Ali A was just a COD YouTuber, so there's that. I still watching Minecraft around this part. Markiplier, PewDiePie as well. This is the edgy YouTube era. The jokes started to get edgier around this point. Damn Daniels was a thing this year too, and Alex from Target. This was the year that the dress was a thing. The one, the gold or blue. Twitch Plays Pokemon happened this year, which is, if you don't know, it's a Twitch chat inputted number commands to control Pokemon, and they beat a whole game doing that, which is kind of insane. And King Batch, one of the other founding fathers of racism, made content this year. Him and that Water Malone guy fucking did irreparable damage. Games. Outlast. Fucking terrifying. Alien Isolation. Also terrifying. That shit stresses me the fuck out even if I play it to this day. Advanced Warfare came out. You know, despite its flaws, I think it was a pretty good COD game. I didn't cite the COD game that came out the year before this because you know who it was the worst one. So there's that. Mario Kart 8 and Smash 4 came out because this was when the Which came out? Okay, so Mario Kart came out and Smash came out because it was the Wii U. Around this point, the Switch hadn't come out until 2017. I'm getting my timelines mixed up. But Destiny came out this year, and I sunk Between Destiny and Destiny 2, I probably have fucking 80 days between them, which I'm not happy to admit, but oh well. Goat Simulator came out and Five Nights at Freddy's, and we know what happened with Five Nights at Freddy's. Which is funny, this guy was making it, he used to make kids games and they said his stuff looked too creepy, so as a last ditch effort, he made FNAF as a horror game, and then it took off. Which is good for him, he's rich now. But he does have weird political views, I don't co-sign those. Battlefield 4 came out this year, awesome game. Crossy Road came out this year, and the remakes of Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire came out, and I used to play these games a lot, they were awesome. Anyways, aspects of life. Normcore. Fucking normcore. This is a stupid trend. Smartwatches were a thing this year too. The Instagram aesthetic. This was the year of the Instagram aesthetic. If you know, you know. Absurdist humor started to become more prevalent in an ironic sense, post-ironic sense. I feel no, the post-irony came after 2016. 2016 is irony. And this is really the part where the time where TV itself was getting less popular. Everyone was watching shit online now, at least in our age demographic. TV's consistently decreasing in popularity, so no one has a fucking cable subscription nowadays. I sure as hell don't. I got Netflix, Prime, and Disney Plus, and that's call it a day after that. Now, Netflix was king during this era. The other services hadn't even started out, really. So I think I've had Netflix since 2010. It's been around for a fucking while at this point. But anyways, 2015!
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
The last year that I'm going to talk about. Music this year. Ray Shremmerd released Shrem Life. Shrem Life came out this year, and that had so many bangers. And this, I talked about this in the Recession Pop video. This was a transitional year. There was a lot going on this year. Pop music was shifting, and trap music was about to take over as the dominant genre going into the 2016 era. But this album largely contributed to hip-hop becoming immensely more popular. That and Fetty Wap's album, which I don't remember the title of, those were probably the two driving factors that drove hip-hop to becoming immensely more popular in the next coming years, because trap would take over everything. Headley released Hello. Kid Ink, the best artist of all time, released Full Speed. Tyga and Chris Brown. Fall Out Boy released American Beauty and American Psycho, which I think is a very slept-on album in their discography. Had a lot of great songs. Drake dropped If You're Reading This, It's Too Late, which probably is a top 3 Drake project in my opinion. Imagine Dragons released Smoke and Mirrors. You gotta listen to that album. Even if you hate Imagine Dragons, it's one of the better alternative albums I've heard. Dark Skies Paradise by Big Sean came out this year. Kendrick Lamar released arguably his best album, To Pimp a Butterfly. My personal favorite, still Good Kid, Mad City though. Honestly, still valid. Flo Rida had his last album come out this year, which is My House. Tyler the Creator dropped Cherry Bomb. Young Thug dropped Barter 6, which was a play off Carter 6. And him and Lil Wayne had beef for a little bit following this, but it was kind of entertaining. Zed released True Colors. A$AP Rocky released At Long Last A$AP, one of his best albums. He's only released 4, but all of his albums are great. Jason Derulo released Everything Is 4. Major Lazer released Peace Is the Mission. Meek Mill released Dreams Worth More Than Money, and I think this is the one that had Rico on it. Future released Dirty Sprite 2, another great trap album. Travis Scott made his big commercial debut with Rodeo. Insane album, and he'd go on to do a bunch of crazy shit. Drake and Future dropped What a Time to Be Alive. Robin Schulz dropped Sugar, which had the song Sugar on it. Vici dropped Stories. Bryson Tiller dropped Trap Soul. Borns dropped Dopamine. I know Miles is a fan of this album. He definitely glimpses it in his spare time. Justin Bieber dropped Purpose. This album was massive. Logic dropped The Incredible True Story, another one of his arguably great albums before he kind of got corny for a bit. Coldplay dropped A Head Full of Dreams, which is probably the last great Coldplay album as well. Following this, they kind of went in a weird direction. Jeezy dropped When It's Dark Out. Pusha T dropped King Push, Darkest Before Dawn, the Prelux. The Billboard Top 10 this year, which obviously we were talking about The Weeknd earlier, but this is the moment he genuinely blew up. And following this, especially with Starboy the next year, he would become a whole league of his own. He is arguably right now maybe you could argue Bad Bunny, but he might be the biggest artist on the planet currently. I think it's probably him. At least based on streaming numbers, it is him, if that's what we're using as a metric. But he dropped his album this year. What's it called? Beauty Behind the Madness, and it had The Hills on it. I think it had Often as well. That was on this album as well. Bangers. And number 9 was also Earned It by The Weeknd, which is kind of a kinky 50 Shades of Grey tie-in song.
It's a banger.
It's good. It's a good song. Watch Me by Silento came out this year. This dude, I'm pretty sure this dude is on trial for murder right now. I might be wrong, but he disappeared after this. Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon came out. Millennials love this song for some reason, and it's not that bad, but same with the next one, Sugar by Maroon 5. Millennials love this song, and it's the worst song on V. There's so many good songs on this, but this is literally the worst one. And then Trap Queen, obviously, banger. See You Again by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth came out this year. For a while, this was one of the most viewed videos on YouTube. And I have PTSD about this song, so they'd make us slow dance to this during middle school dances. Thinking About Out Loud by Ed Sheeran, which is number 2. Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars came out. Millennials love this song too, but I think it's more warranted. I think it's aged semi-well, been overplayed. It's a good song, I'll give it that. Events. Netflix exploded in popularity. This is when it became fully mainstream. And Spotify too. It released the year before this or this year, and it would hit its peak around 2016, 2018 in terms of cultural relevance. But this is the streaming era now. Everything's changed. You don't have to pay for shit anymore. You pay a subscription fee and you run it. It's awesome, honestly. You know, a lot of people complain about not owning physical media. Man, I'd rather pay $10 a month than have to collect a bunch of useless shit that's going to collect dust. I guess to each their own. Apple Music released this year too, and my friend Miles, he's such a liberal, he'll love this. Gay marriage was legalized in the States this year. Can we get a round of applause? And Donald Trump announced his presidency in the same year. Caitlyn Jenner, I believe this is the year Caitlyn Jenner transitioned and became Bruce Jenner. This was the year it was it became public knowledge.
So it would be the other way around.
Oh, yeah, Bruce Jenner changed their name to Caitlyn Jenner as they transitioned. The Golden State Dynasty started this year. Dude, I was such a Golden State Glazer for years on years. 2015, 2016, peak Golden State. I fucking loved watching basketball during that era. Also, the Mayweather versus Pacquiao fight happened this year, which was awesome. Anyways, for TV, Mad Men ended this year, and Better Call Saul started, which it did kind of have a slow start, but Better Call Saul would be one of the better TV shows I've ever seen by the time it ended. Mr. Robot started too, which is an incredibly dark dystopian show about surveillance and drugs. This was also the Netflix Marvel era, and they released Jessica Jones this year, but more importantly, they released Daredevil, which is the best superhero show of all time. Fucking bar down easily. There is nothing else in competition with it except maybe Invincible. That show was just awesome. Dude walks into a building, beats up everyone, gets beat up, and then he fucking prays to God for forgiveness. It's summary of Daredevil. Narcos started as well, which started to bring Pedro Pascal more into the spotlight around this time. I mean, say what you want about the guy, but he's kind of likable in my opinion. Some people don't like him. But around this time, he's also on Game of Thrones, had a pretty memorable role. Master of None airs. I know Miles loves that fucking show as well. And then for anime, the only thing that I have as noteworthy this year was One Punch Man airing. But in terms of kids TV, this was probably the last year I was watching that stuff. I kind of transitioned to mature-ish content around that point, so it would have been 13. So I was kind of phasing out Nickelodeon, Disney. I was just watching The Walking Dead and all that shit. But Jesse ended this year and Casey Undercover started. Dog with a Blog ended and We Bare Bears started. That one is kind of a slept-on show. I watched it for a little bit. Writing's pretty fire at that. Dog with a Blog, good riddance. That shit never should have fucking existed, even though I watched it religiously. And Star Wars Rebels started, and despite having a really fucking rough launch and there being a lot of filler, it did have some of the best moments that Star Wars ever put forward later on, especially with Darth Maul and the main character getting blinded and having to learn how to fight while they're blind. So there was some fucking crazy shit going on in that show. It's up until season 3, it feels like a kid show. Then Darth Maul shows up and he just starts decapitating people, and it's fucking insane. But Anyways, Star Wars released The Force Awakens this year, and that was probably the last great Star Wars. Oh no, Rogue One came out after that. I'll give them that. Rogue One's great. Star Wars 7 was great. Everything else sucked after that. Jurassic World also, awesome movie. And Mad Max Fury Road. I have not seen The Martian. I've heard that it is good, but he uses poop to farm his potatoes, so it's nice. It's nice. Furious 7 came out. This is where the Fast and the Furious movie should have ended. Would have been perfect ending. Inside Out came out as well. One of Pixar's best movies. Really emotional. I've probably seen it about 10 times throughout my lifetime. And Spectre, the first James Bond movie I ever saw, came out this year as well. And Straight Outta Compton. That's cool. What we got for book and manga? I got One Punch Man. Again, I feel books, especially around 2015, they got less popular in general culture, especially with the rise of audiobooks being on Spotify and then being able to buy your books digitally on Kindle. It's kind of a rarity nowadays, especially just seeing someone with a paperback. You don't see it as often unless there's a purpose or they're forced to do it for school. And now, on the last thing for this video, online media and games. This year is when Jacksepticeye became very popular. Insanely popular Let's Play YouTuber. He's out of the Let's Play people, he's the third one. You know what I mean? Markiplier, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, they're the big three. He was putting out some pretty awesome content. Happy Wheels was pretty popular around this point too. Probably more popular in 2013, but all these YouTubers were fucking playing it and getting tens of millions of views. Insanity. Leafy is Heroes a thing this year. That dude just straight up bullied children, and that was his career, and then he got banned. Dude was so edgy. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of leashed my humor off him for a year or two where he'd just tell people to kill themselves, and for some reason I thought that was peak humor, but you know, we learn from our mistakes and we get better and we evolve. Maybe. I don't know if I'm that different compared. Honestly, John Cena memes were really popular this year too, but he was kind of on the downturn. His reign of popularity was more in the 2000s. 2009, 2010, that era, but he was still a really popular figure around this time. Pepe the Frog was a massive meme this year too. Eventually it got co-opted by a bunch of weird alt-right people, and I don't understand the context behind that to this day, but it is what it is, I guess. Metal Gear Solid 5 and Fallout 4 also came out this year. Undertale, insane game. Fan base makes it really hard to like that game, but it is a genuinely 10 out of 10 game experience that everyone should experience. Dyslexic attack. Hotline Bling. Oh, Hotline Bling was this year too. Awesome. And Drake's dance attached to that. There was so many memes. They put the Wii Sports tennis racket over him when he was doing the knee sweep. It was insane. And Left Shark, Katy Perry's dancer, didn't know what they were doing and they made memes out of it. Rocket League also came out this year. I know Life's that game for 3 years straight after this. I don't know what my rank is, but to this day I'm not very good at it, so that's sad. Life is Strange also came out. Whatever. Until Dawn came out, one of the best horror games of all time. You could choose your own fucking ending. It was like playing your own horror movie. That shit was game changing. You could literally make it out of that game with everyone dying or everyone surviving, and you could purposely get people killed too. It was just fucking ridiculous. This is an awesome game. And then we had Black Ops 3, arguably one of the best COD games ever in terms of multiplayer. Zombies, not the campaign. The campaign was weird. Agario also came out this year, and Geometry Dash. Relatable memes, fucking millennials, they ruined everything again. Relatable memes, what the fuck does that mean? Half the shit they put out is just the worst common denominator. It's me when I cook and I accidentally drop the pan. And it's, okay, what fucking drove you to make this? There was no need for this. Fucking millennials ruin everything. Their humor sucks. Mobile apps were insanely popular. Before corporate minimalism took over everything, app icons, logos, they all had flair in these eras before. They had these cool designs to them, and then they changed them to like corporate minimalist structure. Snapchat dog filter came out this year as well. Permanent damage resulted from that. I don't know when they got rid of the dog filter, but it was a little bit ago recently. And viral culture started becoming mainstream. Vine was at its peak in popularity around this point. This was pre-short form content being the dominant thing, because this year also Musical.ly dropped, but Musical.ly was it was a little bit niche. I hope you realize that's going in the video.
Well, it's very 2016-esque.
Very 2016. This video isn't even covering 2016. That's the worst part. It's 2010 to 2015.
So I can't even talk about my beloved album, Justin Timberlake, Man of the Woods 2018.
That album sucked. Like, what do you mean?
That's why I wanted to talk about it, because everybody thinks that it sucked.
Yeah, you can still talk about it. I'm making a 2016 video at some point, so I'll just save it for that one. Alright, let's start off with Chris Brown, pulling up the album discography right now. Alright, his first album in the 2010s was Fame in 2011. What do you got to say about Fame?
Which one's that one? Oh, yeah. Deuces is my favorite one of that album. I still listen to it regularly. If you go on my on repeat, it's definitely on there. Unfortunately. Because that song's a banger. Deuces. What else? I don't know what you want me to say about it.
Give some insight. Like, what was life like around then when you were listening to this when it came out? I don't know.
I don't even know how old I was.
When was the first time you listened to Chris Brown? What year?
I first had access to Spotify, 2017. So I listened to that stuff, but I listened to it because of my dad. So I had that influence in, and it was fire.
So your dad, he really liked Chris Brown?
Like the old stuff, yeah.
So he was like more like 2004 Chris Brown, that type of energy.
Yeah. But then I came to find those albums myself, so it was kind of like a little bit of him and then a little bit of me, kind of bam.
So historically, you've hated on my music taste quite a bit, especially when I'm DJing. So I have to ask you a question. Since you really aren't a fan of recession pop, what are your thoughts on Yeah 3 Times?
Well, considering when was it? A couple weeks ago when I asked you to play Chris Brown and you decided that song was great. It's a good club song. It's not a great, I'm going to sit down and put this song on. I'm going to search it up and put it on. I'm not doing that. It's great though, for the club. Good vibe.
What about Wet the Bed? Would you play that in the club or no?
No. That's the equivalent to Or Not. It's such a bad song lyric-wise, but it's so good. Just like for yourself, not the club. No.
I've played Wet the Bed and Or No in the club before. I just want that the record to be shown. I will keep that in the video.
Why have I not been there for that?
What about Look at Me Now? Like Chris Brown, Lil Wayne, and Busta Rhymes.
Okay, I unapologetically love that song. It's kind of shitty, but that's the song that he was flying around the air in his concert. So I thought that was very fitting. He didn't need to be doing all that, but it was very fitting for this song.
What does this album remind you of specifically?
I don't know. The fuck? Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if this was like a kid-friendly thing.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. Specifically, the album in a whole?
Yeah, like what do you feel when you think of that album? What comes to your head first and foremost? Anything and everything.
If anybody who watches this went to Graham Creighton, I'll just put that in perspective.
What the fuck does that mean?
It was my junior high.
Oh god.
Very bad.
If you had to give this album a number out of 10, like ranking it, what would you give it?
Solid 7, because it's not my personal favorite, but I have ones on that album that I do like. It's just as an album as a whole, it's a 7.
Alright. Okay, so we're going to talk about Fortune, now the one that came out in 2012. What do you think about?
Which one's that one? Show me the... Oh yeah, I don't have many thoughts on that. That one was more of a pop album. It wasn't very R&B, because I like R&B Chris Brown. That one was very pop. I think there's only one album of that song that I actually like.
I don't recognize any of the songs on this actually.
Exactly, because it didn't do very well. Because he kind of went the pop way and not what he was used to.
For context.
But yeah, I think that was, and it just didn't do well because he does have good pop in his R&B albums. It was full pop, so it just wasn't great.
Can you say for the camera that Chris Brown had a rough year in 2012?
Chris Brown did in fact have a rough year in 2012, so that explains.
What would you rank that album out of 10?
Honestly, a 5.
Fair enough. What about X in 2014?
Oh, that one's my favorite. Loyal is my all-time favorite song. Only You play it downtown, but nobody else does except for DJ Kodak, and I'm being so honest. Nobody else plays that song. Loyal, it is the best song on the album. Hands down. It's a banger. I don't know really what's else on that album.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that. It's probably the best song on the album. What would you rank this one out of 10?
A 6.
Like a 6? I thought you said you loved this album.
But only like for
Only for that.
like 7.5.
7.5?
Because it's better than the other ones. But the album as a whole doesn't have enough bangers for me to rate it more.
Alright, fair enough. What about last Chris Brown album for this video, unless you have the other ones later, but Fan of a Fan with Tyga.
Hands down 10 out of 10 album. I don't care what anybody says. There's so many on them. You'll see I have a bunch downloaded.
Alright, for the context of the video, she has every song on the album saved. Every single one downloaded. Not all of them are added to playlists, but they're all downloaded, the whole album.
Because that album I can listen to start to finish and not be mad.
What's your favorite song on Fan of a Fan?
Nothing Like Me. That one. And I do like Bitches and Marijuana. That song's a banger. Also, okay, I'm gonna go on a tangent here. Okay, you ready? People that get mad that songs go viral on TikTok and say they need to gatekeep it, I'm over it. Girl You Loud just got popular on TikTok this year, but nobody really knew it beforehand. So it's people were mad that people weren't gatekeeping it, and then it became all whoop-de. Oh, I'm such a good tangent.
Alright, I'll splice it together. So you were talking about TikTok, people getting mad about Girl You Loud being overplayed on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, when did that album come out?
2015.
Yeah, that's 2015. Not many people know of that album as much. It does have on it, which is a really big song. But other than that, Girl You Loud wasn't one of the songs that people were regularly playing back then. So when people got mad, they were like, no, they TikTokified it and whatever. No, let songs get popular again on TikTok because they're rightfully bangers. Let them be.
Good job.
Thanks.
More of that stuff. If you think of anything for anything, you can chime in at any point. That stuff is really easy to work with.
Good. That was my biggest point I wanted to make on this little segment.
Alright, so let's talk about Justin Timberlake. So in 2013, he released the 2020 Experience.
Oh, but you don't have to show me that. I'm the biggest Justin Timberlake fan.
Oh, I forgot to ask, what's your ranking for Fan of Fan?
Oh, I said 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10?
Yeah.
Alright, what do you think about 2020 Experience?
It's not my personal favorite album, but it is up there. Because, well, I can't say Future Sex Love Sounds because that was the early 2000s, so I can't. That's my all-time favorite. But this album alone, I can also listen to start to finish and not be mad. Because I feel bad because I've seen all these people in concert, so I feel it was way better. But he ended his concert with Mirrors, and that was his biggest song on that album. So it was rightfully so the best one to end with. But me personally, I like so many other songs on that album. Because Suit and Tie is a big one. TKO is my all-time favorite though. It's 7 long-ass minutes, but it's my favorite, hands down. I don't really know what he was doing at that time, but that was one of his biggest albums, I think. Was the 2020. I think.
Probably was. What do you think about Justin Timberlake getting into UI charge?
I thought you were gonna talk about this stuff, not ask me about it. Okay, I went to the tour that he said, oh, this is gonna ruin the tour. I went to that tour. But I know so many people with DUIs, so
You want me to keep that part in the video?
I don't care.
Okay.
I'm not normalizing DUIs, but I feel like
I'm gonna have to flash a legal disclaimer on the front of this. Okay.
personally do not have one. That's your legal
What
disclosure.
would you rank the 2020 Experience out of 10?
9.
Alright. This is actually... So, I'm gonna take it back to Future Sex Sounds for a minute.
Really?
So, when we made the Recession Pop video, we talked about 2 albums specifically in 2006, basically creating the majority of pop trends that would go on until like 2014. It was the 2 albums, one of them was this one and the other was Loose by Nelly Furtado.
Facts.
Timbaland produced all of these albums, and Sexy Back is you can listen to pop music, and Sexy Back is like the before and after, because after that everything started sounding like that.
No, literally. No, Future Sex Love Sounds has so many good songs on it. I do not care. Chop Me Up, you probably don't even know what that is, but it's my all-time favorite song on that album. Genuinely. It has, well, Future Sex Love Sounds itself, the record, beautiful. Love Stoned / I Think She Knows, banger. Like, Timbaland, beautiful on that album. Just all the songs, amazing. But they don't get enough recognition because Sexy Back is on the album. So people are like, that's the only song they think of when they think of that album.
Right. Let's talk about Man of the Woods, released in 2018. What do you got to say about this? A lot of people aren't a fan of this album.
So I was in grade 8 in 2018, and I loved that song. But I think the problem is that it wasn't his normal music. It was very much so a branch away from his normal stuff that he was known for. So when he went into this, he has Say Something on it with Chris Stapleton. And people are like, that's a country music artist. Like, you're not country, get out. Basically, people just did not respond well to his album whatsoever. But me personally, I love it. I don't listen to it as much as I would Future Sex Love Sounds or 2020 Experience, but I'll still go back and listen to it because it has good songs. Like Morning Light has Alicia Keys on it. That's a really good song. People just hate on it because it wasn't his normal stuff. AF.
Solid. I'm just gonna go through all 5 of the years now. I'm gonna give you a year, and if there's anything that comes to mind you want to talk about, just go off the handle.
Well, I don't really remember.
How old were you in 2010?
6.
6? Okay, what do you remember about being 6 years old in 2010?
I was in grade 1. That was about it.
What about 2011?
You're asking me these things, like, you'd have to ask me, like, what do you think about this, and then I would know.
Or what are your favorite songs that came out in 2010?
Yeah. I don't fucking know. I'd have to look. I